Welcome to Permission to Heal. I am Marci Brockman, and I am thrilled that you are here. Okay, Deborah Hawkins hails from Chicago, Illinois. She is a writer and has published 2 books and has a digital course and a bunch of other amazing things going on. You're going to love this conversation about gratitude and the healing and self-nurturing that creating her type of gratitude practice can have on you. She started her own gratitude practice as a way to work her way out of depression that she found herself in as an adult. She began blogging about gratitude in 2010 as a way to focus on positives and elevate her mood. She was inspired by Eckhart Tolle's words. He said, "Acknowledging the good that is already in your life is the foundation for all abundance." And she developed a mindfulness orientation for her gratitude practice, which led to her posting over 500 posts on her weekly blog. Beyond traditional gratitude journals and lists, though, Deborah's approach focuses on understanding things that sparked gratitude in past experiences and using this understanding to identify similar qualities in new situations. She attributes her gratitude practice with bringing a sense of empowerment and contentment into her life. She calls them personal gratitude themes. And we talked a bit about how to identify your own personal gratitude themes. She wrote a book called The Best of No Small Thing, Mindful Meditations, which is a collection of the blog posts that she posted, and then a guide or workbook of her practice called Practice Gratitude, Transform Your Life, Making the Uplifting Experience of Gratitude Intentional. She is doing a digital course called Healing from the Heart, which will be available for multiple dates in September and October. Promo codes will be available. You can look in the show notes. They will be there. They're also listed on her website and so on. She has a digital course called Gratitude Journal 2.0, and she does Zoom sessions, making the uplifting experience of gratitude intentional and being positive on purpose. And all of her links are in the show notes. So this is a lovely conversation that was almost a year, maybe 6 months in process of happening. And I'm glad we finally got it all worked out and were able to make a podcast episode together. So thank you all for being here. I'm quite happy that you are. Thanks so much. The Permission to Heal podcast is sponsored by Instacart. If you're anything like me, no matter how you try to schedule your life, you're always super busy. And when it comes to doing errands and grocery shopping, we need a little help. Instacart is here to help us get our essentials delivered in as fast as an hour. It is amazing. With Instacart, you can do all your shopping online at your favorite local stores, grocery stores, pharmacies, Target, Costco, Staples, Sephora, Bed Bath & Beyond, 7-Eleven, even some liquor stores. And an Instacart shopper will shop for you. All of my Instacart shoppers have been super helpful in choosing my items. If the store is out of what I've asked for, the shopper will text me pictures of similar items for me to choose from and will change my bill to reflect the changes. Then the shopper delivers my items directly to my door. And you can choose contactless delivery, which helps keep everyone healthy and safe. I rely on Instacart for grocery shopping every week, and sometimes for even my non-prescription drugstore items. Instacart is like having a personal assistant help me with my shopping every week. Get your groceries and essentials delivered in as fast as an hour via Instacart. New customers can get free delivery on your first order of $10 or more. Just click the link below, which will take you directly to instacart.com so you too can get the help you need. Just click the link below and you can get your groceries and essentials delivered in as fast as an hour via Instacart. New customers can get free delivery on your first order of $10 or more. Instacart.com, your personal and quick shopping assistant. You won't know how you lived without it. Hi, I'm Marci Brockman. Many of you know me. I'm a podcaster, author, quirky artist, and I've been a high school English teacher for more than 25 years. I have been through a lot of stuff. Emotional abuse, my mother's mental illnesses and her opiate addiction, divorce as a child and as a parent, co-parenting after divorce, dating in my 20s and the very different animal of dating in my 40s, illnesses, finding love again, remarriage, step-parenting, blending families, you name it. I figured some stuff out by doing the hard work on myself, by doing extensive research, and through 30 years of therapy. And I'm here to answer your questions, to help you on your own healing journey. And you can follow along on these special Ask Me Anything episodes on my Permission to Heal podcast. Ask me anything you want, and I'll do my best to help. Just DM me your questions on Instagram at Marci Brockman27. So good morning, Deb. How are you?
Good.
Good. Lovely to chat with you. How is it in Chicago? Is it a hot, steamy summer?
It's been warm some days, but it's been beautiful the last couple days.
That's
I
wonderful.
actually spent last evening eating kiryats on the lakefront with a friend. So
Nice.
I enjoyed that a lot.
Lovely. I love waterfront things. You know, we live on Long Island, and people think, you know, everywhere you go, there's a beach. And yeah, we're surrounded, but there's usually a pretty decent, unless you live on the water, a pretty decent drive to get to. You know, like we're on the North Shore, so we've got some beaches right here, but they're very rocky and there's not a lot of waves. But if you want the Atlantic Ocean and you want to go south, it's a good 40-minute drive no matter where you go. So, c'est la vie. C'est la vie. So, I usually begin interviews with my 6 quick questions to get the ball rolling. You ready?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. So, what 6 words would you use to describe yourself?
I'm creative, empathetic, sensitive, resourceful.
One more.
And resilient.
Excellent. I think resilience is the key to making a long life and not getting tripped up by things. What is your favorite way to spend a day?
Well, I love to do things. I love to go to have picnics with other people and hear music. And I think I want to brag about Chicago a little bit. They have a wonderful venue called Millennium Park that was built about 20 years ago. And I almost have forgotten where the time has gone. They have classical music concerts that
Outside.
are free. So I love to make a picnic and gather with a few friends on the great lawn there and hear music.
Sounds perfect. Outdoor music to me is like my favorite thing.
And it's even greater when other people bring food.
Yes.
And it's like a great picnic and it's a surprise, which
Nice.
I love surprises, because you might bring potato salad and somebody else brings hummus or something else. And
Right.
for whatever reason, everything is magically perfect.
Right. That's awesome. I like that. There's a town here called Northport, not so far from here, and they've got a big gazebo and like a Thursday night summer concert series most of the time. I don't think for the last 2 years they've done it because of COVID. They don't want that many people together out. Although it's outside, I don't know if they're doing it. And that's always fun. You listen to the music, you're sitting by the water, everybody's bringing food, and yeah,
they didn't have these concerts last year because of COVID, so they had them this summer. And it was like a special treat because I really missed it last year.
Yeah. It's amazing how much of our lives were just automatically shut down because of COVID. How difficult that, all these unanticipated difficulties and disappointments and so on that we had to deal with. It was, but, you know, we have to look at the positive side of things, so.
I guess you're resilient. You're resilient too.
Yes. Yeah. It tests your resilience and it tests your ability to be flexible and be creative about how you're going to socialize behind closed doors and so on. So we found Zoom. That's a good thing. I don't think I would have been able to do this podcast any earlier than I started it because I didn't know Zoom existed. And I would have thought that anybody who I would have had on my podcast would have had to have been here with me in real life,
Right.
in 3D. But now, I mean, I've had podcast conversations with people in Australia, and that would have never happened. So
I almost bought website development software from somebody in Nepal. I
wow.
didn't end up doing it, but I realized, like, forget calling each other, like, just get on the Zoom connection
Right.
and figure out what the time difference is. So it's really been an incredible, unexpected way to make the world smaller.
I agree with you. I
People
agree
in
with you.
places.
Just have to do the math of the time zones and you can pretty much do anything. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, number 3. What is your favorite childhood memory?
I think one of my favorite memories is going with my Uncle George to Wrigley Field, which is like the oldest baseball park in the country still. And I was 10 years old, and my Uncle George, like me, was kind of the black sheep of the family. And he loved sports. He would go on tours, like his vacations would revolve around going to San Francisco to see the Bears play the Giants or something. So I
Wow.
really developed an affection for sports. So I loved being with my uncle, but I also started a real love affair with baseball. It was fun to actually see something live in
Yeah.
the moment. So I have a real affinity for certain sporting events that you could observe live. That's not like prepared and edited and fixed
Sure.
up. And I also love baseball for a special reason that time is measured differently than it is in most situations where we always look at the clock. Time in baseball is about innings, and
Right.
something takes as long as it needs to take,
Okay.
period. And I love that.
Yeah, it's cool in that direction. When I was little, my dad used to take me to Shea Stadium, which no longer exists. It's now Citi Field, I think, to see Met games. And he was always much more interested in baseball and brought a radio with him so he could hear the color announcing at the same time that we were watching the game. And I was more interested in where the food vendors were, or watching people than I was the baseball thing. And for me, I've not been a huge sports fan, but I have both of my kids played baseball. My son played baseball. My daughter played softball on the town league here. And talk about innings taking as long as they take. You've not seen a long inning until you see a little league t-ball game. Oh my God. When they pitch with no outs just until you get a hit. And oh my God, so long. But so cute too, you just have to realize how cute they all are and you don't get aggravated by the time so much. But those were fun games. I miss that now that they're both grown up.
I still used to like going to baseball games that were not professional. At times in my life when I wasn't making much money, I would go to like a park, nearby park, and I'd just watch like not real little league, but like pony league or
Yeah.
whatever, like 14-year-olds play
Yeah.
baseball because money didn't play any part in it. They were
Right.
just doing it because they loved it. And I would watch and I would go and
And
watch
they're
it.
good, those players. They have
And I
their
love
fast
it.
pitches and yeah, excellent. Yeah, it's good to see those kind of things. We have there's also those local, what do they call them? What is the word for that? They're not professional, but they're not amateur. It's the league in between. You know what I
Like
mean?
AAA,
Yeah, something like that. I forget what it's
the
called. Oh,
teams,
minor leagues. They're minor leagues. Yeah,
minor
yeah,
league.
yeah, yeah. I could not think of it's a simple word. Could not think of it. Wow, age is so great, isn't it? I keep losing nouns. I lose adjectives. Whatever. But we've got a nice minor league team here, the Long Island Ducks, and they've got a really cool stadium where there's literally not a bad seat, no matter where you go. And they've got food. It's like a whole experience, you know. And the kids always love doing that. And the annoying little quacker things, these little plastic things, they look like duck bills, and you blow into them and it sounds like and it all, so, you know, the whole stadium full of kids all blowing in their quackers is really quite fun. I haven't thought about that in a long time. Thanks for that, Deb. That's awesome. All right, number 4. What's your favorite meal?
I sort of laugh because I practice yoga and I like to do some Eastern. I'm like influenced a lot by Eastern philosophy, but I was raised as a meat eater. So my favorite meal would be like prime rib, medium rare, with like potatoes and a nice salad. Very
Sounds great. That's
and
my husband's
vanilla
favorite
ice
too.
cream. And probably ice cream for dessert. That's my weakness.
Weakness.
I love ice cream.
Do you have a favorite flavor or all of them?
I like a good vanilla, but I also like pistachio. I like mint chocolate.
Nice.
So there's, you know, I'm open to different ones, but it's funny when I go to other countries like Portugal or Argentina, I had to sample their ice cream. They many countries think they have the best gelato or ice cream, and I go, let me be the judge. I have to try it.
All right. So, what are the results of your test?
Well, I really was surprised that the ice cream in Buenos Aires is very good. I don't remember ever having ice cream in Long Island, though I might have. I have a cousin who lives in Forest Hills, but just if like a flavor is really rich and creamy, it's like it's like the memory of all summers. What's best of summer?
Well, that's a great phrase. The memory of all summers. I like that. No wonder you're a writer. Okay, number 5. What one piece of advice would you like to give your younger self?
Remember that you're perfect.
Wow. That's profound. Just the way you are.
Right.
I'm writing that down.
It's very easy to like listen to people that are critical. Yeah. And they don't mean necessarily to criticize you, but it feels that way when you're a child. So to remember that you're perfect.
I like that. It's quite profound in its simplicity. I like that. Number 6, what is one thing you would most like to change about the world? This is a big one.
I'd like it if people were more interested in the common good or in other people.
Absolutely.
I think like whether it's advertising or cell phones taking selfies, which I generally don't like to do, we're encouraged to make things about ourselves. We watch whatever we want to watch in bed on our device. We do everything to suit our own short-term whims. And there's something wonderful about that. You could get immediate gratification from that, but there's something that it kind of reinforces something that you're missing, really, that you need to feel connected to other people and to take other people's needs into account a little bit, not to make it all about them and not to deny yourself, but to take people's needs into the decisions you make can end up actually being more gratifying.
I agree. I think that a lot of the divisive issues that we have, the polarization that we have in our country, has a lot to do with what you're saying. You know, the selfishness or the self-centeredness of this device economy that we have, the ubiquity of cell phones and devices, and and the ability to stream or curate anything that you want to see or project, it kind of, and social media kind of mirrors for us or allows us to curate like a mirror for ourselves, where we're only seeing the things that we like to see or things that we're interested or agree with, so that we're less adept at being open to or listening or accepting of different views, other people's opinions, divergent thinking. And I think that it's made us quite narrow-minded and intolerant to a quite a large degree. I mean, I remember when I was younger, I don't know what age, but I remember hearing and seeing polite debates on things, where both sides were prepared intellectually, and they were going at an issue from opposite sides, and there wasn't anger or resentment or fear or whatever that gets in the way that creates all that posturing. And I don't think that, I mean, I hope that the pendulum will swing back and that we'll get there again, but
I hope so too, and I think a lot begins by doing it in our own family or our own community, to try to take other people like in consideration.
yeah, yeah. I mean, even with things as COVID vaccines, I mean, this should not be a political issue. It should not be a bipartisan issue. We're all biologically human. We have several companies who have miraculously come out with vaccines in a crazy short amount of time that have worked for millions and millions of people to reduce their susceptibility or eliminate their susceptibility towards COVID. And there are so many people who listen to non-mainstream, non-science-based things and just, propagate this anti-vaccination thing. But, we eliminated polio by getting vaccines. We eliminate things like diphtheria that no one even thinks about anymore. Because when we're infants, we are, the pediatricians just automatically give us these vaccines. And it's saved humanity many times over. Why is this different?
I don't know. And it's funny, I have had like social dilemmas about getting together with some friends, some people who don't want to do the vaccine. And they go, it's not about me. It's not about wearing a mask. I'm not worried about getting sick that way. But I'd like to think that you realize that it's not about getting sick. It's about making it easier for other people to get sick or not. Like by getting vaccinated, it's about making it easier for other people, especially that have compromised immune systems that you don't know about, for them to be stronger. It's not only about you.
Right. So, anyway, I strongly believe that unless you're immunocompromised, if you're 12 and over, you should get a vaccine. That's it. I'm not a doctor. I'm an English teacher. I have a podcast. But that's what I think. Anyway, so let's get into it. So you have a website called No Small Thing, and you wrote a couple of books that were, the first one, The Best of No Small Things, Mindful Meditations, was a collection of stuff that came out of your personal blog. Am I correct?
Right. And actually, I have a copy of the book here. There's a little heart-shaped stone on the cover that was a reminder, probably not so subtle, that there's beautiful things that are already in your life.
Right.
If you set it as an intention to notice them. So likewise, all the stones are the same color or the same size, but they could have different meanings, different shapes, and it's up to you to notice that this beautiful thing is right in your environment.
Right. Beautiful. I collect rocks every time I go to the beach. I have a big bowl on my dining room table. It's like the centerpiece that's filled with all these random rocks that I found on the beach, and I just love them. Sometimes I like the white ones, sometimes I like the black ones, sometimes I like the tan ones, whatever. They're cool. So how did you get started doing this? What about your life, your childhood, your upbringing, or whatever made you want to start a blog like that?
So I'm going to tell you two things that relate to why it was really important for me to be on your podcast.
Okay.
I really resonate with this idea, permission to heal.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my case, part of my permission to heal relates to my childhood,
Okay.
which relates to why this gratitude practice is so important to me. And the second relates to finding a voice, speaking out and being heard. So, in the first case, I was the youngest daughter of like three daughters in my family, but I was abused a little bit. One of my, there was my sister, who's 1 year older than me, used to beat me up. And she was sort of allowed to beat me up because she had a special status in our family. She was born right after I had another sister who died in a car accident. So it's
Oh,
like every person is like born into a family drama.
sure.
This already. So my family drama impacted what I experienced. So what I experienced was that it wasn't worthwhile, like that I would get beaten up, and that I would ask my mother to stop this, and she didn't, because protecting the ego or emotions of the other child who replaced the one she lost was very important to her. So there might be reasons, she had her own reasons why she did things.
Sure.
For me as a child, I felt like low self-esteem. So when I grew up with low self-esteem, and that affected my marriage and dating life, my work life,
Of course.
so many other things. So when I was really at a low point, I started doing a gratitude practice. And because I was a writer who wasn't writing, I thought it would be good to have this as a not a listing practice, but actually reflecting on
Sure.
experiences. And what I noticed after I wrote like 100 blogs was I tended to write about a collection of things. And by knowing what I tended to write about, I was able to more easily, find more things to write about. So it was really gratifying for me to write, have something to write about, and notice what I really lit to, what really uplifted my mood. So
Right.
I extrapolated from this point, and I developed this system for personal gratitude themes, which I now try to teach that if each person understands their own personal gratitude themes, then they could practice, sing those themes in the world that is around them. Like they don't have to do something special or look to an external force to uplift them. They don't have to find a great parking place.
Right.
So this model for a gratitude practice really meant a lot to me. And now that I know that this works, it means a lot to me to be able to have a conversation with Marci and people like you to speak out that this is worth looking at.
What do you mean by personal gratitude themes? I think I know what you mean, but I'm not sure.
Sure. I would look into what I write about and try to identify qualities in those experiences,
Okay.
and then boil those qualities down to the most essential thing that really, the factor that really uplifted me, that affected me the most emotionally. So when I could do that, then I would ask myself, can this general idea be applied to other situations?
Okay.
And if that particular experience from a grateful experience from the past can be boiled down into a theme, I could use that understanding forward to kind of uplift myself in new situations. I know earlier we talked about my love of baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I decided one of my themes, and this is pretty common to other people, is a sense of belonging.
Sure.
So sometimes when I go to a baseball game, even if I go in a visiting park, it's not unusual for people from Chicago to go to Milwaukee to see
Right.
a baseball game. So when I see fans wearing the same hat or rooting for the same team, I feel a wonderful sense of belonging. So it's
Community,
not
part of the
just
collective.
right.
Right. Right.
So it's not just about baseball, but that might have triggered my recognition of
Mm-hmm.
this being important to me. And once I know that it's really important to me, I'm very grateful for experiences where I feel I belong to something, either a group of people or to mankind. And that makes me it uplifts me. So I have a list of my gratitude themes: belonging, surprise, beauty, humor. There's, everybody has different themes. And it's also a celebration of your being a unique person. Everybody has their own themes. Two people could like having a dog, but they might have totally different themes, what uplifts them. In other words, some people could remember an experience with their dog and think that be really touched by the physical closeness
Mm-hmm.
or the spontaneity or having a routine, like different things about that relationship. And somebody else could also love having a pet,
Mm-hmm.
but they might come up with totally different core reasons what uplifts them about those experiences with their pet.
True.
And it's, if one knows their themes, their personal themes, they could look at different situations in the moment and say, are any of my themes showing up here? And you might not think about being grateful for being in a particular situation. But
Until
when
you
you
see it.
realize, right, when you can realize that things you love and value are already in your life, you could elevate your own mood.
That's quite profound, Deb. Because you
So,
start to look at your life through the lens of those themes,
right,
and then you see them more. You notice them more because you're more aware, you're looking for them. Whereas before you identified
right,
them, you might miss it.
right. So
Interesting.
I know a lot of people have gratitude practices where they list like 10 good things that happened to them that day. And I don't deny that that helps put people in a positive frame of mind.
Right.
But I don't think that is as powerful as of a gratitude practice as really learning that gratitude is not what happens to you. It's self-directed. It's about what you
Wow,
know
that's
about,
profound.
it's about what you know about yourself.
I'm writing that down. Self-directed
And it's
gratitude.
about what you know about yourself and how well you could apply that to being in the moment.
Wow. Wow. It just made me think of one of the things I love is having photographs of events or my kids growing up or when we get together or, but I have had to learn how to balance enjoying the moment live in real life and not pulling myself out of the action to take a picture of it. So
Right.
I take far fewer pictures than I used to but the couple that I do take are somehow more meaningful because I've, all right, I'm get everybody together because I'm going to take this picture and then I'm putting my phone away. You know what I mean? So I take a better picture rather than taking more pictures, and I get to be in it more. Like,
Sure. What do you think is like the most important aspect of liking to take photographs?
well, it isn't the act of taking the photograph as much as looking at it later and remembering the
Mm.
fun or the loving community closeness, whatever. Like, because I'm trying, I wrote self-directed gratitude, what I know about myself, and then I started thinking, well, what are my gratitude themes? And I think I have shared laughter, because to laugh on my own doesn't make me
Sure.
happy,
Okay.
but to laugh with other people about something, that really uplifts me. Things where I get to spend time with my children, our pets. My husband and I have 4 cats and 7 fish tanks of fish, and that I love spending time with him. I got to put him on this list. Photographs of specific events. I don't know what else. I
This is a great
love
place to start, but I would recommend looking at this list
through.
further,
Right,
contemplating it
right.
to, and it can't be done quickly, but take
No,
some time with these ideas to
right.
understand what the core quality is in that situation
Mm-hmm.
that makes you feel good. Because if you know that, you don't have to be taking photographs. There
Right,
could be like something about that that you could actually apply to other situations,
right.
or the love you feel with your husband or your children. Like, is it part of being a part of the fabric of life? Like something bigger, something, but
Right,
still true to that experience, still very connected to the experience
right.
that triggers his thought. But if you know, can boil them down to like essential qualities,
Mm-hmm.
you could like apply them to like situations you wouldn't think to be grateful for.
I see what you mean. Okay.
Like, here's a little example. I remember being in a line in a grocery store. And at first, I feel irritation because I'm waiting in line. I
Sure.
don't like to wait. And then I look at everybody else in the line, and we all look at each other and we smile. And I started feeling that I'm in the same situation as everybody else.
Right.
And then I was actually grateful for being in the moment. Like, it was a joy for me to
Because
be in
suddenly
line.
you were in community with all the line
Right,
waiters.
exactly. Be with people I probably won't see or have a conversation with, but
Mm-hmm.
I really felt we understood each other.
Right.
We were having the same experience. And so I don't recommend necessarily to only think about your themes, like be in the moment.
Sure.
Sometimes what you experience in the moment informs what your themes might be, but sometimes it works the other way, where you find yourself in a moment and ask yourself, "I'm not feeling good, or I'm not really connected here. How can I feel connected? How can I uplift myself?" And this really can be very powerful. These little switches you make based on what you already know about yourself. The
Huh.
world doesn't change, but you tap into what you know about yourself and say, "Okay, I could live with this. It's okay."
Wow. It's quite profound. So some of the most meaningful changes in perspective happen with these little tiny minute adjustments we make in our own thinking.
Yes, I think so. I know a lot of people were really disoriented about the pandemic
Mm-hmm.
because they couldn't do their normal things.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I did was I made a playlist on Spotify, a music playlist, and it was a chance to use creativity and use music and share music,
Right.
and I found myself experiencing great joy from this because I could do this. It's something I had. So it's not like the situation in the world changed, but
Right.
I decided to focus on things I loved.
Mm-hmm.
I would, even though I was kind of like everybody else, stuck at home, I looked at the corner of my living room and I saw some of my exercise equipment, some balls that I used to play with my dog, other things. And I thought, gee, if I'm going to be stuck anywhere, home is a good place to be.
Oh yeah. I I
So,
I
so I didn't like, I was luckier than many people because I didn't have to go out in the world a lot.
mm-hmm.
So some aspects I was fortunate about, but a lot of my mood really depended on what he decided to focus on.
Exactly. Exactly. I didn't mind being home. I was working from home for a while. I'm a teacher, so we were on remote for a while, and then but I was home, stuck home. It's my favorite place to be. I built this house, so my kids were home because college was all remote, and my husband was home because he wasn't working, and we just had a lot of unexpectedly amazing time together that we wouldn't have had before. I wouldn't have had my two college age kids home at all. My son would have been working an internship in Maryland and wouldn't have been home, and my daughter would have been in Massachusetts, and instead we were all here, and it was heaven. I'm sad to see it end in a way. It's good that they're going back to their lives, but I'm gonna miss them. Such a goof. Ay vey. Yeah, so for quite a few years now, just talking about my gratitude practice is not particularly organized like yours. I could see how this is a I don't want to say better or worse, but certainly a more effective, potentially effective way. I have this gigantic mason jar in our bedroom and a sheet, a very thick pad of very tiny little pieces of paper. And whenever something good happens
Um,
or something that makes us happy, an event, could be a movie we liked, could be a meal we liked, could be just a conversation, it could be anything. It doesn't really matter. We jot it down on the paper with a little date on it and stick it in the jar. And slowly throughout the year, we see the jar fill up, which is sort of a visual reminder that we have a lot to be grateful for. And then on New Year's Eve afternoon, the afternoon of New Year's Eve, my husband and I make our bed and dump the jar out and spread them around and then just pick them out and read them to each other and sort of relive all of the things that we were grateful for throughout the year. And we've only been married 4.5 years, so we've only done this like 5 times,
I
but
think
I
this is
like
a
it.
wonderful habit to, when you're sharing your gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a wonderful thing. I do some lectures with the senior group, and I tell them that it's good to keep, there's saying misery loves company.
Sure.
But if you're happy or you feel grateful, you're probably likely to keep the company.
Right. Exactly.
It's really nice to be able to share good feelings or pleasant memories with somebody else. That in itself is a bond.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. I love that. I actually have more things to stick in there that we haven't done from the past couple of weeks. Okay. So you have a lot of stuff going on. You've got explain to me. I was trying to read the answers on the guest survey. You've got Zoom sessions and a digital course that you're doing. Explain all this to us so we know how to get in contact with you. We can learn more amazing things from Deb Hawkins.
Well, recently I'm trying to like catch up with social media. I'm not very good at this, and I recently opened a Linktree account. So
Okay.
my Linktree is called Grateful Deb.
Mm-hmm. Makes
And
sense.
so if people want to get like a quick overview of my courses, I think it links to like pages in my website. So I wrote 2 books I published 2 books a couple of years ago. One is this collection of my gratitude reflections from the first 10 years of having the blog. So I'm guessing I posted almost every week. So I have over 500 posts total.
Wow.
And I have in the book maybe 50 or so from that period. And the other book is a very simple workbook. It's not as much as I cover within my courses, but it's called Practice Gratitude, Transform Your Life, Making the Uplifting Experience of Gratitude Intentional. I really feel very strongly that making gratitude not about a response to something that happened, but being a self-directed experience is really powerful. And so I published these 2 books, but they're self-published, and I'm always trying to find ways to get them out more, to get
get the word out.
So that takes up a lot of time. I also do now a Zoom course called Helium for Your Heart.
Helium for your heart. That's awesome.
Helium for your heart. Elevate your outlook through intentional gratitude. So I tried to do this as open enrollment on Eventbrite every 2 months or so. So basically we go over the tenets of intentional gratitude as I practice it, the idea of practicing gratitude, getting to know your own themes. And I cover like 3 ways to look at your themes. One is what you know about yourself automatically. The other is by exploring a peak experience. And third might be by looking at photographs. You might not think about this intentionally, but if you quietly look at photographs you've taken and ask yourself, why did that really appeal to me? Right. What did I want to capture from that? So you might not have thought about it when you took the picture, but when you look at it later, it might jog some ideas that would lead to themes. So then the third aspect would be practicing those themes in your life, in your daily life. So in my Helium for Your Heart course, I actually go over how to pick out your themes. I'm starting to offer coaching on this, but it's kind of an extension if anybody wants to more help to create their own themes. And that's mostly what I'm doing now.
Sounds like you're changing lives.
Well, I want to be on podcasts like yours and have conversations because I think this would really could be valuable for everybody. But people have to resonate with this. It's not like religion. I tell people very upfront that it's important to practice gratitude based on your authentic feelings, not what somebody told you to be grateful for. And when you connect with your own feelings, you're kind of celebrating yourself. You're saying what I think and feel really matters.
Right.
And I think this is wonderful. So besides like feeling good, it's like a confidence booster.
Sure.
You could go into any situation and say, there's probably something in here I might not love, but I could appreciate. And knowing that, you could like walk into more situations and be okay with that.
Wow. So it's like you're arming yourself with self-love as you go around the world and do your thing.
Right. Sometimes I know David Steindl-Rast, the monk that did this TED talk about if you want to be happy, be grateful. And that's really a strong theme in what I talk about and what I say, like happiness as like a peak moment is often short-lived, or people often don't know that they were happy till it's over. And I really think it's dangerous to kind of seek happiness of this nature that's short-lived and a big high. But it's
Right.
wonderful to have a general contentment about your life. And I think arming yourself with how you could go back to the state of gratitude by identifying the things that you value that are already around you is the way to be happy. Because if you stray from like feeling great, you could come back to this.
Right.
And
It's a good positive baseline.
maybe the best we could do is coming back to a good place.
Yeah. Yeah, you could use it as a, I don't know the right word I'm thinking of, but when you're faced with a situation that is uncomfortable or anxious causing or less than positive, then you could call on this arsenal of your personal gratitude themes to help you help insulate yourself or protect yourself from that, because it's not going to get in to damage you because you're already thinking about all these positive things and feel better about yourself and your own validity and your own efficacy and your own what's the word I'm looking for? Graciousness, gratitude. How do you make that into an adjective? I don't know. I'm kind of losing it.
It's like saying you're open
Yeah.
to feeling good. You're not, your heart's not hardened. Like
Right.
you're open to letting things into your heart. And that's a
Profound.
good way to live.
That's a great way to live. It's quite profound. Wow. So I'm going to link those of you who are listening. Thank you for being here. All of the links to Deb Hawkins' website and her books and her link tree and all of that will be attached on the show notes. So just scroll down; it'll all be there, waiting for you, along with her social media links and so on. This has been great, Deb.
A long time in the making. I know you and I
Yeah.
have talked for a while over time, and I don't go every week, but I have listened to quite a few of your podcasts, and I really enjoyed them.
I'm so
They're
glad.
conversations with people about um, relatable experiences and also discoveries.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of relates to kind of my second goal of that I think a lot of people are going through now, that it's not about having a degree or
Mm-hmm.
a job or whatever. It's about having something to share
Right.
and finding a way to do that. So I think this is like permission for me to speak up, but also permission for anybody else that has something to say to be on a podcast.
Right. Yeah. And the only person who can help you grow, the only person who is responsible for your happiness, the only person who can direct your healing is you, which is really where the mission of this podcast was born, because we can't successfully look external to ourselves for all the gifts and the beauty and the love and the things that we want in our life that make us feel good and that allow us to heal from trauma or to heal from bad experiences. We're the ones that are in the driver's seat. We're the ones that are responsible. We're the only ones who can do it. Even if we wanted to give the responsibility to somebody else, you can't because it's not effective. So permission to heal is self-directed. It's however, whatever we need to make ourselves whole and happy and healthy and feel connected and belonging and gratitude and all of that. You know, we everything that we need in our lives is already inside of us. We just have to be courageous enough to dig deep and look for it.
Thank you for this message.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. This was wonderful. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Permission to Heal. I hope you found it moving and inspirational. Please remember, you don't need anyone else's permission to trust and follow your heart. You have the power within you. Subscribe to Permission to Heal so you don't miss any new episodes, and please share this with your friends.